My 27M fiancée, 29F, was accused by her friend/maid of honor, 29F, of stepping out on me. My fiancée claims she's trying to sabotage our relationship. I'm lost and questioning everything. How do I move forward? My relationship with my fiancée has kind of blown up. I never felt this unsure in our relationship. I'm in need of outside perspectives. For context, we're college sweethearts. For orientation, I was touring campus, and she was my group's tour guide. That's how we met. She's my first love and best friend. Now we're in the height of wedding planning. About a couple of years ago, we had a rough patch with her shutting down and pushing me away. She wanted to take a break so she could find herself again. I don't believe in breaks. I wanted to work through it together, but her mind was made. So I agreed. We established boundaries for the break. We wouldn't see other people, and we were to have checkups about where we were emotionally. The goal was to reinforce our foundation. The break was only a month. We bounced back stronger, but it's still a sore spot. The break was the most distant we'd ever been, and the experience highlighted why I'm against it. Recently, my fiancée had a bad falling out with a mutual friend/maid of honor, 29F, who I'll call Joss for clarity. Some nasty stuff was said, and Joss accused my fiancée of being a bridezilla and an even worse friend. I hoped the rift between them would mend because they were close for a long time. They were like sisters. But my fiancée kicked Joss out of the wedding and uninvited her. The damage seemed to be done for both. The other day, Joss reached out to me and said that my fiancée wasn't being completely truthful. She revealed not only did my fiancée see other guys during the break, but also hooked up with someone on their annual girls' trip. She gave the guy's name, but I don't know who he is. On the trip, my fiancée's group linked up with another they clicked with. Joss said it was clear the guy had an eye for my fiancée, and eventually she and he began wandering off. My fiancée ignored Joss's attempts at talking her down. It was a lot to take in. My initial instinct was to shut Joss down. Up until this point, I trusted my fiancée fully, but I couldn't overlook how much Joss's account matched my doubts from back then. Like I said, we were the most distant during our break. It wasn't on my part. There were times she was AWOL on our checkups. During the girls' trip that fell on our break, she went radio silent in a way she wasn't on previous trips. There was truth to linking up with another group because my fiancée told me about it. She's still casually in touch with some of them. Right after the trip, she was gung-ho on calling the break off, how it was a mistake, and that she was in a better headspace. Joss claimed this was part of their falling out. She was pushing my fiancée to come clean with me before the wedding. She felt I deserved to know and wished she would have said something sooner. I didn't say much. I was too numb to really feel anything. I initially didn't confront my fiancée. I was trying to process, but she could tell something was wrong and kept asking. When I did confront her, she was a whirlwind of emotions. She mostly ranted about Joss, but I told her this was her chance to tell her own story. She asked if I'd hear her out. I promised I would. She confessed to seeing other guys during the break, but claims nothing happened. She also denies ever hooking up with anyone on the trip. I asked her why Joss would tell the truth about her seeing other guys, which alone thoroughly broke our boundaries, but make up an elaborate lie about her cheating on the trip. She insists Joss is trying to sabotage our relationship. She said the other guys meant nothing, and I'm the one she was in love with. It was like she wanted me to be grateful for choosing me. She promised to do anything to regain my trust. She said we're starting our lives together, and I shouldn't let Joss come between us. I wasn't very receptive to her. We fought, and I told her I needed to think. Ever since, she's been pouring on so much affection. She still swears she never hooked up with anyone on the girls' trip and that Joss is trying to sabotage. But I can't shake the possibility that Joss is telling the truth. All of this is blown up while we're in the middle of wedding planning. Invites already delivered, venue booked, catering being arranged, suits, dresses, everything. I feel so numb. I'm in love with my fiancée. She's my best friend. It feels wrong to doubt her, but I'm questioning everything. Even myself. I don't know what to believe anymore. I feel like an idiot. How do I move forward for myself and my relationship? TLDR, my fiancé's and my relationship has blown up after she had a bad falling out with her maid of honor, who told me not only did my fiancée see other guys while we were on a break, but she also hooked up with someone on their girls' trip. My fiancée confessed to seeing other guys on the break, but denies hooking up with anyone. She's accusing her friend of trying to sabotage our relationship. We fought, and I told her I needed space. Ever since, she's been pouring on so much affection. We're in the middle of wedding planning, and now this mess. I'm lost and questioning everything. I don't know what to believe anymore. How do I move forward for myself and my relationship? If you like stories like this, please give this video a like and subscribe to my YouTube channel as I post new stories every day. Now on to the comments. Relevant comments. Commenter 1. You need proof or either go through her phone cause words are not helping. OOP. We have a general open phone policy. I've never did a search through her phone, but I never saw anything suspect from the time of the break to now. Commenter 2. I was prepared to call out the friend for being jealous, but after reading it all, I think she's telling the truth. I think your fiancée is trickling out the truth to you. She's only telling you what she thinks you will forgive. She's lied, and then realized she had to tell you a little bit. She's been lying since you got back together. Contact the other women that went on the trip and ask them as well. Check her phone for the messages between the group at that time. Get tested. OOP. I'm considering reaching out to the other women. I don't know how open they'll be about it. I get along with them, but they're more of my fiancé's friends, and they've largely stayed out of the falling out. Commenter 3. Sorry, dude. Joss, sounds like she isn't trying to sabotage your relationship. I'm not sure what motivation she would have to do that. Your fiancé took your month-long break to fuck other guys. If you can get past that, go for it. If not, you need to get the ring back and move on. OOP. My fiancé's trying to say Joss is being bitter because she kicked her out of the wedding / uninvited, and that she's jealous. I don't know, I've known Joss for about as long as my fiancé, and she has never once came across as bitter or scheming. What was the issue between OOP's fiancé and Joss that ended the friendship? OOP. I was under the impression their falling out was over disagreement about wedding details with the bridesmaids. Her and Joss got into it, and stuff was said out of anger. I knew my fiancé was upset, but I didn't expect her to kick Joss out of the wedding and revoke her invite. My fiancé claimed their falling out was over disagreement about bridesmaids' details. Joss thought my fiancé was being unfair to the other women. They got into it, and stuff was said out of anger. I originally believed they'd work it out because their relationship has always been like sisters, but things only escalated to my fiancé kicking Joss out of the wedding and revoking her invite. Update. 1 week later. Thank you to everyone who reached out. It helped give me, 27M, much-needed perspective. I wanted to give an update. I wanted a fuller picture before making a decision on anything with my fiancé, 29F. I knew her friends / bridesmaids would be a lost cause. I get along with them, but they're more of my fiancé's friends, and their group runs deep. They weren't going to talk at the expense of my fiancé. I asked Joss, 29F, for more info and for evidence to her claims about my fiancé hooking up with someone on their girls' trip. She said my fiancé avoided talking about that particular trip, especially over text. Most of their arguments were in person, but she showed me texts from shortly after the trip where my fiancé confirmed hooking up with the guy. She texted how it's in her rearview mirror and she doesn't need a lecture about the past. She's focusing on the future. I knew the possibility, and my fiancé already confessed to seeing other guys during our break, but I don't know. Seeing those texts made it real in a way it wasn't before. In the texts, she expressed regret, but it didn't make me feel better. I confronted my fiancé, and I knew immediately by the look on her face. She came clean on everything. She thought Joss deleted the texts. Around the break, we were having serious talks about marriage. She started worrying she was missing out on stuff her single friends were engaging in. During the break, she sought validation from other guys and fooled around with that guy on the girls' trip. In her own words, she had a temporary high when he chased her, but felt worse about herself post-hookup. She claims the break showed her what was important and that she wasn't missing out on anything. She was reassured we were right for each other. I hardly said anything to her. I mostly just listened. I was too numb for much else. She kept asking me to say something, but what was there for me to say? I felt her actions spoke enough for us both. She kept apologizing for stepping out. When I asked her why she wasn't upfront with me, she said she didn't want to lose me over her biggest mistake. Her position that Joss isn't being noble hasn't changed. I told her Joss's motive doesn't matter. The truth is the truth. She asked if I could find it in myself to move past this. She said she loves me and she's fully committed. I couldn't tell her what she wanted. I said it was best the wedding be put off and I needed space to sort my feelings. She was against postponing and proclaimed this didn't have to define us. And she's still the same woman I wanted to marry. She asked me not to give up on us. But the same way her mind was made about the break, my mind was made on postponing. It wasn't a choice. It wasn't so much a fight, more putting everything out there. She cried a lot. She rarely cries. It felt wrong to leave her crying. My first instinct was to comfort her, but I was too broken to fake it. I've been hurt before, but she hurt me in a way only she could. I know postponing the wedding is for the best. The reason why I didn't call it off entirely is because I'm way too much in my emotions right now. Hurt, anger, sadness, and somehow numbness. At all possible, I try to avoid making decisions lost in emotion. I need to clear my head. I was so sure of my course in our relationship. My fiancée was my partner in every sense. She was who I wanted to make a life with. Sometimes she'd act so superior about our relationship compared to those of her friends. I feel so stupid. She says she's still the same person I love. But the fact is she had a secret life I knew nothing about. I'm trying my best to understand that, but I'm at a complete loss. I'm not sure if I can move past this. All the guests have been informed of the postponement. Some question why, but I've been vague. I'm just too embarrassed. I feel bad for the guests too. Some with limited means already booked flights and hotels and took time off work for our wedding. That's how far we were in the home stretch. In some ways, it doesn't feel like my life. We were just together, wedding planning, and discussing the honeymoon. The honeymoon was a surprise destination for her, someplace she's always wanted to visit. Now we're here. I don't know where to go or what the future holds. Thanks to everyone again for the support. It means a lot. Relevant comments. OOP responds to a long comment on if his fiance's friends from their girls' trip are the same group of people she hangs out with as of today. OOP. Yeah, it's the same group of women. Same group from college. They were aware of what she was up to during the break. Commenter 1. Wow. I'm floored that the fiancée still tried to blame this on her maid of honor instead of taking accountability for her own actions. You're right. She is not the same woman you were in love with. Hope you find peace. OOP. She doesn't seem to want to accept that this has nothing to do with Joss. Thank you. I appreciate it. Commenter 2. When in relation to your engagement, did the girls' trip happen? How long since the girls' trip and break? OOP. Our break and the girls' trip was around a couple of years ago. Downvoted commenter. You were on a break from your relationship and you expected her to not go out or get with anybody. I think she dodged a bullet with you since you say one thing, but expect another. OOP. I expected her to follow the mutual boundaries set for said break. Not lie, cheat, cover up, make me feel like I was overthinking and blaming everyone she can. OOP's fiancé is making this difficult for him to understand the truth besides Joss' side. OOP, I agree. I'm really trying to understand the other side, but I'm just not seeing it. She's treating this as the past being drudged up. It's the past for her, but very much the present for me. I just found all this stuff out. Even when I gave her the chance to tell her own story and promised I'd hear her out, which I meant, she still chose to withhold and give a version of the truth. I don't care what Joss's motive was when it doesn't change the fact what she revealed was the truth.